Good morning. It's going to be a really nice day out today, I think. Sun's shining, and it's supposed to be in the mid-70s, so that's good. We've got, what do we got? Just under 100 acres to finish up that field that we were in yesterday, where we finished. But we got to take this tank back, get a weight on it so we can calibrate our flow meter so that maybe it's a little bit more accurate than we were yesterday. Phil, it appears, has already left with a set of those double tanks, taking them back. So I'm going to head out with these ones. This one. Pulling doubles back. All right, well, I've been here for a while. It was a bit of an extended stay. It's not quite as quick as dropping one and hooking up to a full one and going, because I needed them to get that end serve, which they don't have end serve here. They use a product called DCD, which is, I think, a proprietary to this particular retail chain. So then I had to figure out if that was okay for this plot and if they wanted to use it or what the deal was and what the rate was going to be. So I guess everything's good. They're going to put it in. So Phil's going to bring the tank with that product in it. He already took another full one back, like I said earlier, and we're going to take these, and then that will be all that we need for today up here. And we're going to go to Berkey. So I think Phil will bring a couple more empties back, and then we'll head to he'll head to Berkey and start bringing us some full tanks down there. I got to get lined up right here. This is kind of awkward because it pulls funny. So we pull the tanks on the scale with the truck off, so it doesn't matter which vehicle you pull the tanks back with, you're just weighing the tank. We've made it to the field. You can see there's some flags out here. They're all different colored flags, and they all mean something different as far as the rate and what product exactly we're putting on, whether it's got the stabilizer or not. So I've also got a PDF file that's got the plan in it, and I've got a script for getting the right rates on. So we'll get that all set up and make sure we do this right. Okay, we are running here. So we have a tank of just straight anhydrous, no stabilizer in. We're doing the passes through this nitrogen plot that require normal anhydrous, no stabilizer. We're doing some strips at a 100% rate, which for me is 190 pounds per acre, and some strips at a 75% rate, which is 142 pounds per acre. We will make similar passes with the stabilizer after we switch tanks, and we'll compare those results after harvest to see whether or not it made much of a difference or not. So we've got 4 replications of this plot out here, so each pass is done 4 times, which means there'll be 8 passes with this tank, and then we're going to run it out on the other side of the field. You can see we're still bouncing over tile lines in the back here, but the front half of the field, there's not any tile lines, so it gets a little better here in a minute. Also, as far as our rate controller issues from yesterday go, they appear better. We are locked on our rate. Our flow is good. We're able to get higher flow, but again, we tricked the, or we didn't trick it. We changed the calibration. I forgot to reset my tank. Oh well. So I think everything's running good. The answer will be when we weigh the tank and whether it matches what the flow meter and the monitor says that we put on or not. But we'll get her dialed in here. I just don't understand why that number would have changed, but that appears to be what the issue was. All right, this is the last pass in this plot with normal anhydrous with no stabilizer. You can see my chart here, and it shows kind of the different colors. The red are the 75% strips. The orange and yellow there are the 100% strips. I just kind of modified the scale to make it so that they were relatively solid colors. So we've got to come back in and fill in the gray strips yet with that tank that has our stabilizer in it. But we are going to run this one empty first. So I'm going to come over here where we ran out last night over there and run this tank out. Well, like I said, we won't really know if this is working properly and fixed like it's supposed to be until we can weigh this tank empty, but man, it's working a lot better today. I've got it cranked up to 8 miles an hour. I probably could go more. We're getting the rate locked on. It bounces around a little bit, especially like when I was bouncing over tile lines or I'm speeding up and slowing down. But once it finds it, it finds it. I did change a setting in here yesterday, which I know, right? You change the setting and then stuff went bad. But all I did was there is an option in the rate controller menu to turn on what they call rate smoothing. And it was on before, and this was set at 10%, which basically means if it's showing a rate within 10% of the target, it's going to tell you that it's putting the target rate on. And while that's okay, it kind of gives you a false sense of, yeah, you're doing really good. And so I changed it to 3%. So now if it's within 3% of my target rate, it just shows the target rate. So I see it bounce a little bit more. For example, watch as we get going here. It's going to overshoot, it undershoots, and then it gets close and it settles in. Now if I speed up, it's going to undershoot, overshoot, over, and then boom, it locks on. So now it may not be exactly at 190, but it's within 3% of 190, and that's close enough. So that had zero impact on our issues with the bar yesterday, but it is something that I did to help me just watch it a little closer and see how good of a job we do. Tank's empty and darn close to what was supposed to be in there, so I think we're doing okay here. Look what I found. Oh boy, that would have poked a tire. Sometimes it amazes me the stuff that I find in the field that we haven't poked a tire. So I hooked up the tank with the stabilizer in it. So let's talk just for a second about what that is and what it does. And I'm not the expert on this. We don't really use nitrogen stabilizers, especially with our anhydrous, very much. But basically, I talked about it the other day when we were talking about what anhydrous is. And so it is NH3 in this tank. And when we inject it into the soil, it's seeking to bond with a hydrogen atom. It does that with usually taking it from the form of water, and it makes NH4. Once you have NH4 in the soil, the microbes in the soil biology start kind of working on it and converting it into NO3, which is a leachable form of nitrogen. It will bind with the water and move through the soil profile with the water, and you could potentially lose it. And so what this nitrogen stabilizer does is it helps prevent it from converting into NO3 and keeps it in that NH4 form longer so that it stays in the soil profile better. I think that's my understanding. And so what we are doing with this test here is trying to determine if we could lower the rates of anhydrous that we are putting on our fields by using these stabilizers, and whether or not that is cost effective to do. We're trying to conserve the fertilizer, we're trying to protect the environment by putting lower rates out there more efficiently, which is a good thing, but it has to work and it has to be somewhat cost effective. So that's what this experiment is all about. That's why we're doing a 75% rate, to see what kind of a yield loss is there. And is it the same yield loss as we're seeing when we go from a full rate without the stabilizer to a 75% without the stabilizer? Or is that, is there a difference between the two 75% rates where we're keeping some of that yield because we're not losing the nitrogen? I don't know. That's why we do the test. As far as our stuff and how I personally feel on it, we're so close to when this corn is going to be using the nitrogen now. In our soils, where we have relatively higher CECs and we're not on super light sandy ground, I think that we can hold on to that nitrogen and not need the stabilizers. And so if we were doing pre-plant, I would be more inclined to use it. Anybody that's putting it out in the fall, I think you're nuts if you're not using a stabilizer. But for this situation, I don't know that it's necessary. And I'm sure this isn't the right attitude to have, but I don't even know if I should say this on YouTube, but it kind of almost feels like it makes more sense to take whatever that stabilizer costs, and I don't even know on this, but say it costs the same as 20 or 30 pounds of anhydrous does per acre. So we're putting this on at a rate of 24 ounces per acre in the low rate, the 107 or the 142 rate, the 75% rate. So I don't know what that costs per acre. But if it is 30 bucks, 25 bucks, what if I just spent that and put more anhydrous out there? Then if I do happen to lose a little bit, I had extra out there to start with, and I probably still have enough. And if I don't lose it, well, then I got extra nitrogen for my corn, and it costs the same as if I would have used the stabilizer. That's kind of been the attitude, and it's probably not a good thing that's the attitude, but it's pretty hard to change that thought process. So I'm really interested in the results from this test, and I'm glad that they want to do it. And this is like I said before, it's a replicated trial, so this is really good data. This is one location replicated. They have, I believe, 10 more, something like that, replicated locations around Ohio, Indiana, Michigan. I don't even know where all their tests are at, but it's a wide data set that should be pretty accurate, good information. See stuff like that? How? How is that still out here? And yeah, what happens when I put a combine tire down that row this fall? Goodness. Okay, that nitrogen plot is done. That was a large plot. There's got to be between 30 and 40 acres in that plot. So, yeah. All right, we're going to go run this tank out down here on the end. I'm probably going to finish down here and have to go clear to the other side of the field where we've got a little bit more to do. But we're going to cruise through the rest of this so we can get to Berkey. It's 11:30 already. What happened here? The corn just stops. Oh well. All right, well that's this side of the field, so now we got to go to the other side. It's easier and faster to fold up and take the road. I'll show you where we're going. So we're finishing up over here. We've got to go do these two pieces. We're way over there. So this side of the field is the cover crop residue that we had. Well, Dad disked some of it, so he disked down the sprayer ruts here, that's right. But over there, it's untouched cover crop residue that we have not been in that side dressing yet, so curious to see if there's any change in how the bar performs ceiling-wise in that different tillage, planting conditions, environment. Well, my tank's empty, finally. We're still off on our rate. I did 2 or 3 more acres on that tank than I was supposed to. This is frustrating. I need to run another calibration load. I am pretty sure it's just a calibration issue at this point because it's smooth and it's locking in on a rate. It's just, our calibration got off. It's like them tanks that sat there over the weekend ran out different than the tanks that we get filled the day we use them. I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm not sure what's going on, but we got them doubles over there that I pulled home. We got to hook up to them and finish the rest of this field and then head to Berkey. I'll run a calibration load with the first tank down to Berkey. I can't do one now because I didn't calibrate with this tank, so I don't know exactly how many pounds I used, and the doubles, I'm not going to use them all, so I won't get a calibration there either. It was a touch wet here when I planted. See the ruts? Oh yeah. It's this side of the slope. It was wet. Uh-oh. Cutting her a little close here. We've got 2 rounds left. We'll make it. Done. Finally. That feels like it took too long. It's almost 1:30 already. 90 acres. Anyway, we're going to go back to the farm. We're going to fuel up. We're going to drop this double tank because we get different tanks from a different supplier at our farm in Berkey. And we're going to head that way. And if it's 1:30, hopefully by 3:30, 4 o'clock, probably 4 o'clock, we'll be putting anhydrous on down there. That'd be good. Off we go. If you're new, we farm down to Berkey. Over. It's about 35 miles east of here. And we have about 280 acres of corn there. So that's where we're headed. We made it. I don't see any tanks here yet though, so I don't know Where it feels like. So I've got this radio, right? And the fire department's talking and it's encrypted and I'm getting confused. Okay. So we get down here by Toledo and there's a little more radio activity. So every now and then I hit the scan button just to see if anything's on any of the channels. Well, it's funny to me because on this particular channel, these people are on here on their radios talking about their radios, and I find it hilarious. They were talking about how they fixed one and how good their speakers are, and it just cracks me up.
That's that same noise I catch every now and then over here when the signal's not all that great.
What kind of scanner are you using for B25?
Oh, look what else we got. Oh, you guys won't be able to see it. Hold on. Right there are the fighter jets based out of the airport. There's a military base over there. There they go again. A little closer this time. Oh, where'd they go? Oh, there's 4 of them. Sweet. It's the 80th, 81st fighter wing, something like that, out of Toledo Airport, Ohio National Guard. Frustratingly bad news. I just called Phil. He's getting 1 tank. So this supplier that we use down here is kind of weird, and I don't know why they do it this way, but they have small tanks and big tanks, just like our other one up west does. But their big tanks are set up just the same way as we use our other ones. With the bigger fitting that we hook our hose from our bar to their tank. Their small tanks, however, are set up with hoses already on them, and the connection point, the hose attaches to the bar. It's backwards from the way we run our other ones, which means you can't go back and forth. You either run the big tanks or you run the small tanks. And they're out of big tanks. They're like, they only have the one, and so I don't know if we're going to be able to get any more. We may have to convert our bar over to use the small tanks, which we have done in the past and can do, but I don't know. Oh yeah, right here. This little doohickey right here. We attach this to the bar, and then I don't know. It should work. I don't know if this fitting is right for the new bar, though. That may be a problem. These guys are still talking on the radios about radios.
The 800 trunking system, then we have a back 800 megahertz analog frequency. So if our private system goes down, we switch over to the state system. If they both go down, we switch over to the analog system.
Well, we got a tank. So we're going to run this one out and do it fast enough that we can still get a weight on it tonight so we can get this calibrated right. And hopefully we'll get at least this one filled again. If not, we'll pull some small tanks and switch our fittings around. So we'll get something done here tonight, just not as much as I had hoped maybe. So I've got a little more pressure down here. Them pressure gauges are running back where they were last week, almost pegged out. Not that it was real low before, but it was in the 50 to 60 pound range instead of, you know, got to be what, 70 to 80 there, pegged out like that. It also appears row 15 is still an issue, but there is gas coming out of it, because when I turn around on the ends, I can see it coming out. It's the second row in down there, and I don't know, so I'm not real sure what the deal is. No, it's the third row in, right? Nope, second row in. So yeah, I've checked it, checked both of those, and there's nothing really visibly wrong with it. I don't know, and it's still getting some, so I'm not going to get too concerned about it. I will probably give a more comprehensive review of this bar towards the end, but dang, is it impressive. Like, this thing is awesome. We are cruising along over 9 miles an hour, and it's not leaking, like hardly at all. This is just unbelievable to me. Well, look at that. It's not perfect yet, but row 15 appears to be slowly fixing itself. I haven't done anything to it. It's possible there was a little chunk of dirt or something that was plugging up the hole, but I don't know. So this does kind of give you relative flow to one another, but it doesn't. It's relative to the other lines. It is not a flow meter or any kind of tells me, you know, how much is going through each row or not. It's just telling me if they're different, and it's using temperature to determine that. Rows 1 and 17 are our half rate rows, which is why they're way high as it is. So it's not the end of the world. I may check it, I may not if it keeps getting better, but I don't know what time we started here, but it's just after 4, and we've got almost 25 acres done in this field already, so we're doing good. Plus, Phil showed up with another tank over there, which is awesome, especially since this one is about empty. Oh man, guys, look at this. I think that is a brand new tank. Like, it's not dirty or anything. Sweet. The valve on it even says 60 gallons per minute. Not sure I'm buying that. Maybe it's the hoses that can't handle it, but that's not going to be our limiting factor. Phil got me a weight on that last load, and we were off by a little bit, but only about 150 pounds, which is not super huge difference. So we'll calibrate it, and then after, I can't do this tank obviously because we changed the flow meter halfway through it, but the next tank he brings me, we'll run it again and see if it's closer. That one's empty. I got their nice new clean tank all dirty. Sorry guys. Phil's not back with another one yet. I assume he's getting the last one that we had unhooked or refilled, I'm sorry. So since I've got a minute, and row 15 is still not quite on the same level as the rest of them, and also row 12 has started acting up, which is in the same impeller in there. So we're going to take the top off of that, pull that impeller cone out, and see if there's some dirt or something in there. And I don't know, we'll attempt to clean it out and fix it right. Well, I took this line off again, it's right here, and I blew air through there. That's not obstructed in any way. I thought maybe that the port in here where this line is attached was giving me trouble. So I took the top off and took out this little impeller and cleaned that up. It was a little gritty, but nothing major. So I don't know. I tried to clean it out in there as best as I could. I'm gonna put her back together and go again. Well, cleaning that out has appeared to at the very least helped. I won't say it completely solved it, but anyway, we're gonna finish this field here pretty quick and then move over to one right around the corner. I am gonna do a live stream, hopefully from my iPad, here in a little bit, in about 15 minutes or so. So you may or may not catch the end of this field. I'll probably see you guys in like an hour as we're finishing up, because we are only gonna get one more tank tonight. So after I run this one empty and the one more, it's quitting time. But 4 tanks, that's almost 120 acres, 110, somewhere in there. That's pretty good for getting down here at 3:30. All right, well, I just got off an hour and a half, almost. The live stream went pretty well. It's a little harder side dressing than it is planting to do a live stream, but we made it work. I am out of anhydrous. The tank that we were running the last clip ran empty. We hooked up this one during the live, and it is now empty. The anhydrous fertilizer dealer is closed, so we can't get any more tonight. Phil went home. I'm gonna unhook this tank and drag it back to the farm. Phil brought the red truck over there for me, and then I'm going home. I think we got our rate dialed in pretty good. It says there was 11 pounds left in that tank when it ran empty, so that's pretty close. We ended up doing about 33 acres in this field, in addition to the, what'd we do, 70, 75 in the other one. So we did a little over 100 acres here, 110, 12, somewhere in there. Plus the 93 we did at home means we did over 200 acres today, and it's 7:30. So that's good. We did well. And I don't know if we'll be able to finish down here tomorrow or not. It's supposed to rain, so I don't know if we'll be able to work down here tomorrow or not. I hope so, but we will see. And it depends on whether it rains and whether we can get enough anhydrous, which remains to be seen. One more thing before I go. I decided I'm gonna leave that tank there, but remember this plot we planted out here down to Berkey? The one day Brock and I and Jack planted this. Well, I didn't have the stakes for it. I have them now. So we're going to put them in. Get this labeled before I lose my bags. There. Much better. Somebody got a little crooked on the rows right there. Don't worry about that. Good thing we all wore our masks all winter. I'm sure none of them ended up as pollution. No, we couldn't have that. We all care about the environment way too much to throw them out in the fields, don't we? Well, I made it back to Waldron, so I'm going to go in here and talk to Phil real quick, but then I'm heading home because I hear Rylan's sick now, so my other son's probably got what the first one had, and it's going to be a rough night. But anyway, thanks for watching today, guys. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you again tomorrow. You guys, YouTube is literally telling me that I got less subscribers last month because I didn't encourage people to subscribe. I kind of quit saying it at the end of every video, like, subscribe, questions, comments, and all that stuff, because I thought you all were capable of doing it without having to be reminded. Apparently I was wrong. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that like button for me. Thank you.